When money fails, people rediscover ancient wisdom. Grow your own food, mend your own clothes, trade what you can, and support one another. These practices, simple yet profound, form the bedrock of enduring civilization. In every historical instance of monetary collapse, from the hyperinflation of Weimar Germany to the post-Soviet ruble crisis, from the Great Depression to contemporary economic crises, the same truth emerges. Human ingenuity and social bonds survive where paper currency cannot. The collapse of money does not spell the end of civilization. Rather, it reveals what truly sustains it. When money falters, human societies are forced to confront a striking realization. True wealth exists beyond the printed note or digital number. Currency is a convenient tool for exchange, yet it is inherently fragile, dependent entirely on collective trust. Real wealth, by contrast, is tangible, practical, and enduring. It resides in food, water, shelter, health, knowledge, and skills. Throughout history, periods of monetary collapse have illuminated this truth repeatedly. In post-Soviet Russia during the 1990s, for instance, the ruble became unstable almost overnight. Salaries went unpaid, supermarket shelves emptied, and citizens discovered that a pile of banknotes was worthless without the ability to obtain real goods. In response, ordinary people turned to barter and practical resourcefulness. A baker might exchange bread for milk. A carpenter could trade repairs for vegetables. Those who possessed practical skills suddenly held immense value, regardless of their previous wealth. In this context, wealth became inseparable from utility, the ability to meet immediate needs and contribute to the survival of one's community. Food and water emerge as the most primal and indispensable forms of real wealth. During the Great Depression, millions of Americans faced the sudden collapse of their financial security, yet those who could grow vegetables, preserve fruits, and raise livestock were far more resilient. Victory gardens, small-scale farming, and communal sharing became lifelines, transforming neighborhoods into microeconomies independent of failing banks. Similarly, during Zimbabwe's hyperinflation, citizens relied on locally sourced staples, cultivating gardens, and trading livestock. Here, the lessons were unambiguous. The capacity to produce and preserve sustenance surpasses any bank account. Skills in agriculture, food preservation, and water management are assets that no economic collapse can negate. They are forms of wealth rooted in survival itself. Shelter, clothing, and medicine also constitute indispensable wealth when money fails. Communities that maintain knowledge of construction, textile production, and basic healthcare enjoy a decisive advantage in times of scarcity. In war-torn regions or during periods of extreme economic instability, those who can build secure housing, repair clothing, and provide medical care become central to their community's resilience. Historical examples abound. During the European famines of the 18th and 19th centuries, peasants who mastered the art of constructing durable homes from local materials, weaving their own clothing, and treating illnesses with herbal remedies survived far better than those who relied solely on external currency. The capacity to transform raw materials into necessities is a fundamental form of wealth that transcends monetary systems. Beyond tangible assets, skills and knowledge are the currencies that endure most reliably. Trades such as carpentry, blacksmithing, mechanics, tailoring, and medicine gain heightened significance during financial crises. In Venezuela, as hyperinflation decimated the bolivar, communities relied on skilled individuals who could repair machinery, mend infrastructure, and provide basic health care. Those who could teach, repair, and innovate possessed practical wealth beyond measure. Even in ancient societies, when coins and barter systems fluctuated, knowledge remained a constant. Mastery of irrigation, metallurgy, navigation, and agriculture enabled civilizations to persist despite the instability of monetary systems. Skills and knowledge are inherently human, difficult to destroy, and transferable, making them the most reliable form of enduring wealth. Social cohesion, trust, and community networks are another critical dimension of wealth beyond currency. In times of economic collapse, individuals who hoard resources or act solely in self-interest often face isolation and resistance. Conversely, those who cultivate cooperative relationships, share knowledge, and organize communal solutions increase their own security and the collective survival of their society. Historical examples illustrate this vividly. In post-Depression America, neighborhoods organized in formal cooperatives, sharing surplus produce and labor. In war-torn Syria, informal networks of aid, trade, and protection emerged even as money lost stability. Social capital, trust, mutual support, and collaboration is, in essence, a form of wealth that cannot be printed, manipulated, or inflated. It is intrinsic to human society and emerges most strongly in the absence of conventional currency. The concept of survival currency extends even into the modern era, particularly in contexts where digital money dominates. A society reliant entirely on online transactions, mobile banking, and electronic systems is vulnerable to technological collapse or cyber-economic crises. In such scenarios, practical resources and skills regain prominence. The COVID-19 pandemic provided a small-scale glimpse of this dynamic. While money continued to exist, disruptions in supply chains highlighted the importance of local production, self-sufficiency, and community networks. Those who could grow food, make masks, provide healthcare, or repair essential equipment were effectively wealthier in terms of practical survival, despite possessing the same or fewer monetary assets. Real wealth, it becomes clear, is inseparable from resilience and adaptability. Bartering and alternative currencies are historical and modern manifestations of this principle. When traditional money fails, humans naturally invent new forms of exchange. In colonial America, for example, rum, tobacco, and wampum functioned as alternative currencies. During the Great Depression, some American towns adopted local scrips, community-issued notes redeemable only within specific localities, to facilitate trade when national currency became scarce. Similarly, during the hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, people traded eggs, vegetables, and even labor for basic goods. These examples illustrate a profound truth. The essence of wealth lies not in the symbol of money itself, but in what can be exchanged to meet human needs. Practical value, trustworthiness, and utility become the new standards of wealth when traditional currency fails. Knowledge of natural cycles, ecology, and survival techniques also becomes invaluable. For centuries, indigenous populations around the world thrived without modern currency by understanding local ecosystems, seasonal patterns, and sustainable resource management. They harvested, stored, and distributed food, medicine, and materials in a way that ensured community survival. Modern societies often overlook these skills, yet during crises, they regain enormous importance. Communities with access to ecological knowledge, herbal medicine, and renewable resource management systems possess a form of wealth that is inherently resistant to monetary failure. It is wealth that grows, sustains, and regenerates itself. Physical health is another critical form of wealth beyond currency. In times of scarcity, those with robust health, physical strength, and knowledge of self-care are better equipped to survive and contribute to their communities. The ability to labor, hunt, cultivate, or defend resources becomes a practical advantage that money cannot buy. Throughout history, societies that valued and maintained the health of their members were better able to endure periods of economic collapse, famine, and war. Health, like skills and social cohesion, is a form of intrinsic wealth that cannot be manufactured or inflated. It must be cultivated and maintained. Education and literacy amplify all other forms of wealth. The capacity to read, write, calculate, and analyze allows individuals to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances, develop innovative solutions, and coordinate complex community efforts. During the hyperinflation in Weimar Germany, literate citizens were better able to navigate the chaos of fluctuating prices, understand alternative means of trade, and anticipate economic shifts. In contrast, those without access to knowledge were left vulnerable. Education is therefore not merely a tool for prosperity under stable conditions. It is a safeguard, a portable and durable form of wealth that endures when money fails. The rise of local and communal economies during crises also underscores the adaptability of human societies. Communities that focus on mutual support, shared labor, and skill-based exchange often survive and even thrive when conventional money loses meaning. These local systems often mirror pre-industrial economies, emphasizing practical production, barter, and cooperation over abstract financial instruments. Such approaches reveal a timeless principle. Wealth is defined by what sustains life and community, not by the numerical representation of value in banks or markets. Finally, the stories of survival during financial collapse reveal a deeper, almost spiritual dimension of wealth. Human dignity, creativity, compassion, and perseverance are intangible yet indispensable assets. People who maintain hope, teach others, share resources, and contribute to collective resilience enrich not only themselves but their entire communities. These are forms of wealth that cannot be stolen, inflated, or destroyed. They endure across generations, providing stability and continuity when money, the most celebrated measure of value, fails. In essence, true wealth transcends currency. It resides in the practical, the human, and the enduring capacities that allow societies to survive, adapt, and ultimately flourish. In the modern world, money feels more permanent than ever. It no longer exists only as paper, but as invisible numbers moving instantly through digital networks, banks, and global markets. With a swipe, a tap, or a password, value appears and disappears. This illusion of permanence has lulled societies into believing that money itself is indestructible. Yet history whispers a warning that modernity has not erased fragility, only disguised it. The systems that support today's economies are more complex than ever before, but complexity does not equal strength. In many ways, it creates new vulnerabilities. When money fails now, it does not crumble slowly like old empires. It can vanish in seconds, erased by inflation, cyber failure, political instability, or loss of trust. The lesson of the modern world is not that collapse is inevitable, but that resilience must be intentional. One of the most profound lessons history teaches is that overdependence on money weakens human self-sufficiency. In many modern societies, people no longer know how their food is grown, how water reaches their homes, or how essential tools are repaired. These processes are outsourced to distant systems maintained by money rather than knowledge. When those systems break, confusion and fear spread quickly. During natural disasters, economic crises, or supply chain disruptions, even wealthy individuals can find themselves powerless without access to essentials. Modern wealth often lacks resilience because it is abstract. A digital balance cannot feed a family if supply trucks stop running. A stock portfolio cannot provide warmth if energy systems fail. The modern lesson is clear. Convenience has replaced capability, and when money fails, capability matters far more. The modern world has already experienced small previews of this truth. The global financial crisis of 2008 erased trillions in wealth almost overnight, exposing how quickly confidence can collapse. Families lost homes, savings, and security despite following every rule of the system. More recently, the COVID-19 pandemic revealed how fragile global supply chains truly are. Supermarkets ran empty, borders closed, and entire economies paused. Money still existed, yet access to goods became uncertain. In those moments, people turned to what truly mattered. Communities organized food drives, neighbors helped neighbors, and individuals with practical skills became essential. The lesson was subtle but unmistakable. Money alone is not security. Resilience comes from adaptability, cooperation, and preparedness. Another lesson for the modern world is that centralized systems create efficiency but reduce flexibility. Global economies are optimized for speed, profit, and scale, not survival. When everything works, the system feels unstoppable. When something breaks, the consequences cascade rapidly. A single disrupted shipping route can affect millions. A banking failure in one country can ripple across continents. When money fails in such systems, recovery is slow because people have lost the ability to operate independently. The societies that endure are those that preserve decentralized knowledge, local food production, local energy solutions, local skills, and community networks. These do not replace modern systems, but they act as anchors when large structures falter. Technology, often seen as a safeguard against collapse, is both a strength and a vulnerability. Digital currencies, online banking, and automated markets depend on electricity, servers, and stability. A prolonged blackout, cyber attack, or geopolitical conflict could freeze financial systems instantly. In such a scenario, money does not gradually lose value. It becomes inaccessible. The modern lesson is not to reject technology, but to understand its limits. True resilience comes from balance, using advanced systems while maintaining analog skills, physical resources, and human networks that function without electricity or connectivity. Perhaps the most important lesson for the modern world is psychological. Money failure tests not only systems but human character. Fear spreads faster than hunger. Panic can destroy communities more quickly than scarcity itself. History shows that societies collapse fastest when trust disappears. Hoarding, violence, and exploitation flourish when people believe survival is a zero-sum game. Yet history also shows the opposite. Communities that prioritize cooperation, fairness, and shared survival emerge stronger. The modern world must relearn an ancient truth: survival is collective. No individual, no matter how wealthy, survives alone when systems collapse. Preparation in the modern age is often misunderstood. It is not about fear or isolation. It is about awareness and responsibility. Prepared individuals are not those who withdraw from society, but those who strengthen it. Learning basic skills, growing food, repairing tools, first aid, preserving water, is not a rejection of progress, but a reinforcement of resilience. Building relationships with neighbors, supporting local economies, and sharing knowledge creates networks of trust that outlast any currency. These actions transform preparation from a private act into a communal investment. The modern lesson also extends to education. Systems that educate people only to function within stable economies leave them vulnerable when stability disappears. True education teaches adaptability, critical thinking, and problem solving. It teaches people how to learn, not just what to earn. In times of financial collapse, those who can improvise, innovate, and teach others become leaders regardless of their previous social status. Education that emphasizes human capability rather than economic productivity creates societies that endure beyond market cycles. Another vital lesson is the importance of values. When money dominates moral thinking, worth becomes confused with wealth. When money fails, societies must redefine what they value. Those moments reveal uncomfortable truths. Who is essential? Who contributes to survival? History shows that farmers, caregivers, teachers, builders, and healers become invaluable when economies collapse. These roles often receive the least financial reward in stable systems, yet they are the backbone of survival. The modern world must confront this imbalance and recognize that economic value does not equal human value. The future will almost certainly bring economic disruptions. Climate change, resource scarcity, political instability, and technological transformation guarantee that financial systems will face stress. The question is not whether money will fail somewhere, but how societies respond when it does. Will they fracture into fear and competition, or adapt through cooperation and shared resilience? The answer depends on what lessons are learned today. Societies that invest solely in growth and profit remain fragile. Societies that invest in people, skills, and trust become durable. At its core, the final lesson of what survives when money fails is deeply human. Civilization does not collapse because currency disappears. It collapses when people forget how to care for one another and meet basic needs without abstraction. Money is a tool, not a foundation. The foundation is human ingenuity, cooperation, and resilience. These qualities have carried humanity through ice ages, famines, wars, and collapses long before banks existed. They remain the true inheritance of civilization. When money fails, what survives is not gold or paper or numbers on a screen. What survives are hands that know how to build, minds that know how to solve problems, hearts that choose cooperation over fear, and communities that understand survival as shared. These are the currencies that never devalue. They do not require trust in institutions, only trust in one another. And as long as those endure, humanity endures with them.